Hey everybody, good evening, and thank you for staying up late with us. I'm Galen Edlin. We begin with the tsunami that rolled across the West Coast, including Washington and Oregon. Luckily, the impact was pretty low, and we have not heard of any major problems from it. Tonight, we'll be getting the big picture about the response and what this means for bigger events potentially down the line. But first, our Christelle Kumwe takes us there to see how it played out locally.
On this beautiful day on the coast, a tsunami advisory had a lot of people come to viewpoints like here at Arcadia Beach to watch the waves. But throughout the day, emergency personnel kept warning people to stay off the beach. Tsunami waves started crashing along the rugged Oregon coast around 8 Saturday morning.
There's not like multiple waves breaking, it just seems to be like one constant wave coming in.
Haley and T.R. Jamar are on the coast for a camping trip and grateful to have seen the news about the tsunami advisory when they did near Arch Cape.
We've never been a part of something like this before. We were asleep in our Subaru just a few feet from the shore, so we were glad we found out about it.
A tsunami advisory is the second highest form of warning issued for a tsunami. It means waves between 1 to 3 feet are expected, and people should stay away from the shore.
And then another storm surge comes in, like right now you can see down the beach. You definitely don't want to be on the beach.
State officials warn people to stay away from port harbors and low-lying beaches because strong currents can be dangerous. The fire department was on site Saturday at Cannon Beach, telling visitors to stay off the beach.
The waves themselves are bigger than normal, and I know it's been king tide season for a while, but these are, I think, probably even bigger than that.
Even though Alan Barber has lived on the coast for 10 years, he was still impressed by the sheer power of nature.
It's a good reminder that it can be dangerous out there, and that if you're on the beach, or even if you think you're far enough away to just admire it, to just always be cautious and always be careful.
Many gathered at viewpoints for a front row seat of the crashing waves, all agreeing it was quite a sight from a distance. As of 11 a.m. Saturday, the largest wave recorded in Oregon was in Port Orford at 1.2 feet and another one in Charleston at 0.8 feet. I'm Christelle Kumwe for KGW News.
Definitely an interesting learning experience for us all. Let's bring in meteorologist Joe Ranieri to catch us up here. The advisories are now cleared.
Exactly right. Now, those advisories kicked in right around 8 o'clock this morning and were in effect throughout basically up and down the West Coast until right around 4:30 this afternoon. As you can see, all the watches and warnings have expired for the tsunami advisory in the Pacific Northwest. That gray color is a dense fog advisory. I'll get to that a little later on the show. But down here in Southern California is where that tsunami advisory is still in place this evening. And as we look at some of the weather headlines from earlier tonight, now the tsunami advisory expired late this afternoon throughout the Pacific Northwest. And like I said, it's still in effect throughout Southern California. Now, peak wave heights weren't really all that impressive. Like Christelle was saying, the peak wave heights along the southern Oregon coast were right around a foot just over that. Some places near Alaska saw wave heights closer to a foot and a half to almost 2 feet. You might be thinking, well, that's not a big deal. Well, keep in mind, going back to 2011, when we saw another tsunami watch and warning that was basically in effect throughout much of the Pacific Northwest, wave heights of up to a couple feet caused a couple $1 million, more than that, of damage through parts of southern Oregon and along the northern California coast as well. Currently, we're looking at really calm conditions along the Oregon coast. I didn't see much of a difference in the wave heights as I'm watching this live camera from Newport Bay earlier this afternoon. I didn't see any really noticeable change out there along parts of the Oregon coast. Some people did see it, of course, depending on where you are, and it all depends on where you are location along the coastline, as well as the topography as well. And I'll talk more about your detailed forecast here locally, what we can expect to see heading into the later part of the holiday weekend just a few minutes from now.
So many variables to track. Joe, thank you very much. Officials in Pacific County, Washington were part of this effort to keep people safe during the tsunami response. And KGW's Art Edwards joins us live in our newsroom now with perspective from that southernmost coastal county in Washington. Hi, Art.
Hi, Galen. The Long Beach Peninsula in Pacific County was one of the areas under the advisory. The director of the Pacific County Emergency Management Agency went to Long Beach so he could check on the conditions.
I went down and encouraged people to leave. And then I drove back to an area behind the leading edge of the dune, which we had determined to be a safe area.
Now, emergency crews were up early this morning warning people of the tsunami advisory along the Washington coast. Tsunami waves came in at about 8:30 this morning along the Washington coast. They were about a foot high maximum. While the advisory has been canceled, officials still want people to be careful.
Be incredibly aware of their situation and their surroundings. We want people coming to Pacific County to be safe.
Now, the National Weather Service is also still warning coastal residents of beach hazards with sneaker waves still possible. Sneaker waves can run up significantly higher on beaches than normal. Galen?
All good perspective. Art Edwards in the newsroom for us. Thank you very much. Now, regional experts say all of this is good perspective, too, ahead of the big one, that large-scale earthquake and tsunami this area is overdue for. We've talked about it a lot. Now, I spoke with Professor Peter Ruggiero at OSU. He studies coastal hazards and the impact on people and geography. His work includes gauging preparedness, especially for the anticipated Cascadia subduction zone quake.
It's a little bit of a dry run in terms of thinking about how a tsunami might impact our coastline and making sure that people stay safe.
He's part of a task force helping map out response tactics in a disaster event. And today's tsunami waves in Oregon were just about a foot, as Joe was explaining. A Cascadia quake tsunami, though, is projected to be 20 to 30 feet, and people will only have about 30 minutes warning. Now, other experts at OSU are also tracking how this tsunami today and how the response played out on our coast. Tim Gordon has a look.
The Hatfield Marine Science Center is a gem of a marine lab and education center in Newport. They got early word of the tsunami advisory.
So we were informed, and there was a call at about 6:30 in the morning.
OSU's Mark Farley says since they didn't know exactly what to expect, they got everyone out of the way.
Because Hatfield is in a pretty low spot, we think about our infrastructure. We also have students housed in the inundation zone. So we went and evacuated them kind of out of caution.
From Newport and all along the coast, people were watching from a distance. This drone video in Cannon Beach shows a lot of surf pushing up to the top of the beach, but not causing visible damage. As the day progressed, it became clear that predictions of a more mild event were accurate.
We didn't see any inundation in our parking lots or on the property. And it did give us a chance to kind of practice all these processes we put in place for preparing for such an event.
Practice at staying safe, and now a real-life chance to study what this underwater volcanic eruption near Tonga means for us here.
We know a lot, but we don't know everything. And so when waves come, sometimes their reflections, their height varies in the region that you're in. So the whole kind of affected region from Alaska down to Northern California will see different results based on where you are.
In other words, some places saw the water's push increase today, and some, like in Newport, did not.
Okay, so Mark, based on what you know so far, how would you characterize this tsunami situation?
I'd say we did a great job. We didn't see any results, and for us, it was a non-event.
Still, the tsunami advisory, a necessary message for everyone along the West Coast. Tim Gordon, KGW News.